Hello, this is Mr. Bradsby. It's good to be with you today. We're going to do some more multiplication today. I've put down some review problems here, things that we've covered the last couple lessons, and I would like you to put me on pause and work these problems. And when you get finished, push me back on and we'll talk about them. Okay, so put me on pause. Okay, so hopefully you got a chance to do those problems. Let's look at them. 5 tens. Well, here I've got some, this is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so 5 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens here. This is a 5 by 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And we did some of these and we talked about a rule. One was you can count 5 tens and get to 50, right? Or the rule also, whenever you multiply something by 10, you can just add a 0 to the number that you're multiplying by, which in this case is 5. So the answer is 50. So that's a little review of what we were talking about. Well, then we go on here and you would do 6 tens. That would be here. 6 tens would be 60 if you count up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 7 tens is 70. 9 tens would be 90. So there they are. There's the answers. Now here's an interesting one. The 10 times 10. What is 10 times 10? Well, if you look at the grid we have down here, it is 10 as we counted across, right? It was 10 across, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is a 10 by 10, okay? And that's what we've got here, 10 times 10. So our rectangle is 10 by 10. And if we counted those, if we want to do it by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So 10 by 10 is 100. Well, that should make some sense to you, though. Think about our money. A 1 would be 1 cent, wouldn't it? 1 cent. And if you take 10 pennies, 10 1 cents, you get a dime, right? So this is a penny, this is a dime. You take 10 dimes, just like here, over here, 10 tens. You take 10 dimes, and what do you get? You get 100 pennies, or $1. A dollar is 100 pennies. So 1 penny, 10, 100. Okay? So 10 by 10, and that's what this grid over here is picturing. A 10 by 10, and so is this one, a 10 by 10. Okay? So 10 by 10 is 100. So we have what we call base 10 number system, and we have ones and then tens and then hundreds. And if you put that in the place value perspective, we have a number like 274, okay? This is the number of ones, isn't it? There is 4 ones. This is the number of tens, okay? 7 tens, 74, okay? And this is 200. This is the number of hundreds, okay? So this is important, isn't it? Because that's what's going to come into play when we start doing larger multiplication, is we're going to have a hundreds place, a tens place, and a ones place. And working our way up, the tens place is the 10 times 1. The hundreds place is the 10 times 10. And this is just the ones. So each one of these gets 10 larger. Ones, tens, hundreds. 10 times as much. Okay? So that's the place value we're talking about here when we get into these numbers. All right, well, so here is three problems that I would like you to do. And again, if you would put me on pause, okay? Put me on pause. Work what you think are the answers to these problems. When you get them completed, turn me back on and we'll discuss these problems. Okay, put me on pause. Well, these problems seem pretty similar to the ones we just worked, aren't they? I could count to 14 tens, okay? Or I could just, like we talked about, when you multiply by 10, you add a 0 to the number. So the answer would be 140. And you could count that out if you want, 14 tens, because here's 10 tens and 4 more, 2, 3, 4 more. And you would have 100, 10, 20, 30, 40. 140. The same thing with 10 times 18. Here is a 10 by 10, okay? And then, so there's 10 by 10, and that would be the 100. And then we got to have 8 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's 108. Tens is 80. 180. All right. And then 20 times 10. Again, we just added a 0 to the 14. We added a 0 to the 18. If we added a 0 to 20, we get 200, which is what we've got pictured down here, really. Okay, I'll take and get rid of some of this. But what we have pictured down here is a 10 by 10 and a 10 by 10. So the two tens together would make 20. So here is 20 all the way. And this is 10 down. So it's a 20 by 10, which is what our problem is, 20 times 10. And you get 100, 200. You get the whole thing, 100, 200. So the answer of this is 200. 10 times 20 is 200. Okay. Let's look at a way we could do this problem mathematically. We've got 20, which we know is 10 times 2 times 10. Okay? Or we commute these and we get 2 times 10 times 10. And you know, we talked about 10 times 10 is 100, so what we have is 2 times 100, okay? Which is 2 100s, or 200. So mathematically, there's a way we could do this problem. But the model shows you also here that you do get 200. Okay, let's look at these problems because these are similar. 30 multiplied by 10. So if we wanted to do that mathematically, we would say 10 times 30, which can be written as 10 times 3 times 10, because that's 30. And we could then do 10 times 10 times 3. Okay, 10 times 10 is 100, times 3, 300. Well, then we look at the next one, 30 times 20. Okay, that would be 3 times 10, 30, times 2 times 10. Okay, so we can commute these, reassociate them, that is, and we would get, because you can associate and use the commutative property and the associative property, and you get 2 times 3 times 10 times 10. The 2 times 3, 10 times 10. So we get 6 times 100, 600. Hope that makes sense. And we could model that if we went back and we took 20 and 30 and we had 6 of those 100 grids. That's what we would end up with, 600 grids. Well, and the 40 times 20 is the same type of thing. We get 4 times 10 times 2 times 10. Okay? And that then is 4 times 2. It's all multiplication, so we can commute and associate, times 10 times 10. And 4 times 2 is 8 times 10 times 10, 100. 8 times 100, 800. So there it is. There's a way of multiplying these units, multiples of 10. That's what we're doing. We're working with multiples of 10, 30 times 10, 30 times 20, 40 times 20. Those are all multiples of 10. Now look at the answer here. 300. Okay? 600. 800. What rule do you think we could use, okay, to multiply multiples of 10? Okay, what rule would you use? Put me on pause and tell me what rule, what pattern do you see in these problems? There's a definite pattern there, okay? Put me on pause, write down your rule, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, I think the rule is similar, isn't it? If you got a multiple of 10 times a multiple of 10, we're going to get hundreds. In this case, 300. 20 times 30, 2 zeros, so we're going to have hundreds. 10 times 10, that's what that means. But 2 times 3 is 6, so it's going to be 600. You could write the rule a lot of different ways. Here we just say multiply the 2 times 4, 8, and make it hundreds. Or when you know there's going to be zeros, the answer is going to be in the hundreds. So if we looked at another one, 40 times 50, the answer is going to be in the hundreds, but 4 times 5 is 20. So it's going to be 2,000, 20 hundreds, or 2,000. So that's an advanced type of problem. But there you are. There's our lesson today. When you multiply by multiples of 10, your answers are going to be in the hundreds. Okay, and we modeled it and we showed you mathematically. The teachers can answer any questions you have, may have a little practice and work for you to do today. Enjoy your mathematics.